whenever you're on any type of journey, it's so important to not wait until you make it to celebrate. And I was just reminded of that just a couple of days ago. I posted about how I completed a visibility challenge, and that required me to record a video to YouTube every day for 15 days straight, right? And if you watched it, you probably even seen me guilty of what I'm about to talk about, because even in that video, I was like, I don't know. Will I continue doing it? Will I make it 30 days, 75, 100, right? I was doing it myself. And then I realized, like, hold up, wait a minute. I haven't really taken the time to celebrate the 15 that I did do. Besides, I created a video about it, but I haven't taken any time to celebrate it or to reward myself. And that just got me to thinking, like, in what other areas of our life do we jump on to the next thing, right? Whether it's our health journey, like, oh, I want to, lose 10 pounds. Okay, then once you lose 10, it's like, okay, maybe 5 more. It's like always on to the next. Or I paid off $20,000. Okay, now I'm focusing on $50,000 in debt. You know what I mean? Like, it just got me to thinking, like, what areas of our lives are we always jumping on to the next thing? And it's just so very important to take the time to acknowledge the win that you got, right? Because if you're thinking about it, what you're acknowledging once started out as a goal, right? Before I signed up for this visibility challenge or joined the cohort, I knew that one of the things that we were going to be required to do is a visibility challenge. And that was a goal. My goal was, okay, I want to be able to, record these 15 videos in a row. I don't want to skip a day type of thing. That was once a goal. But once I did that, right, it's so important that I take time to acknowledge I did that. I did something that I set out to do. And the same goes for you. It's just like we have to slow down and acknowledge milestones along the way of this journey. I also shared in previous videos too, on my financial freedom goals is to pay off my mortgage early. Now we know that might take, 5-7 years. So what if I waited until I paid off the mortgage to then celebrate with one big celebration, instead of, celebrating every 6 months or celebrating, every year or whatever have you. The point is, we can't wait until we make it to celebrate. And the thing, that brings up another question. What is make it? What's the it anyway, right? What's the it? Yeah, it can be the end goal, but it's really about the journey, the things that you learn along the way. And that brings me to another point is, a part of celebration is taking time to sit back and reflect on some lessons learned from what you just accomplished. Now, I did do that with the, the visibility challenge, that type of thing. So yeah, to sit back and be like, okay, I learned this, or I won't do this again, or what can I implement now so that I'm a success the next time that I try something hard, right? Just really taking the time to sit back and reflect. And when I say celebrate, some people might think that you're bragging. Okay, and sometimes you got to pat yourself on the back and be like, okay, I did that thing. You know what I'm saying? So if some people look at it as bragging, then so be it. But we have to brag on ourselves, right? Because if nobody, if you don't brag on yourself, or like they say, if you don't clap for yourself, who will? Who will? So, that's another thing to just keep in mind. And when I talk about celebrating, I'm not talking about it has to be anything big, over the top. It can be the smallest little gesture. Like, for example, what I'm doing is I like to go to Applebee's, right? So what I'm going to do at Applebee's, I'm going just for the dessert. So they have this blondie. It's like this brownie with some ice cream on top with caramel. I'm going to treat myself to, a brownie at Applebee's. And that's going to be my reward for completing the visibility challenge. So, when you're thinking about celebration, don't think, oh, I got to go out and spend all this type of money, or it has to be over the top, big and glamorous. No, it can be something as small as that. It can be, scheduling your massage appointment, taking yourself out to dinner, buying a more expensive bottle of wine, whatever it is that floats your boat. That's what you do. The biggest thing is not the reward itself, like what you do for yourself. The biggest thing is that you pause, right, to even acknowledge that you did what you said you did, right? And I want to point out another thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying only reward yourself if you completed your goal. No. So say, for instance, if I didn't do the 15 days, say if I only did 12, guess what? I still need to acknowledge that. That is still a win. So don't think that it's all or nothing before you celebrate the goal. Okay? So yeah, I just thought about that, and I was like, let me just get on here and talk about it, because I found myself guilty of it. I sure did. I was already thinking like, okay, I'm gonna continue this on, maybe I'll do, another 15, and stuff like that, instead of taking the time. Like, I did take the time with the lessons learned and stuff. I did do that, so yay me. But I forgot I need to celebrate. I need to do a little something, reward myself, because it wasn't easy. I pointed that out. It was not easy to record a video every single day. So I'm going to celebrate that. So let me just ask you, is there anything that you've done lately that you need to celebrate, that you might have forgot? Hey, this is something that you thought was going to be hard or difficult to accomplish, and you did the thing. Whether it was perfectly or not, you did it. So yeah, if there is, just make sure that you take the time to celebrate it before you jump on to the next thing. So with that, I'll holler at you guys in the next video.